What's up guys, it's Mike for Sim Racing 604, and these are my new Fanatec CSL pedals. This is the newest pedal set from Fanatec, and it comes in at a very impressive $80 price point. So I'm gonna get into my review today and tell you what you get for your $80 and if it might be worth it for you. Let's do this. Alright guys, let's talk about the CSL pedals. So the CSL pedals is basically everything you see over here, and in this video later, we're gonna get into the tuning kit, which adds the metal faces to the pedals, and also the load cell kit. So got a bit of upgrading to do later on, but for now we're just going to focus on this and everything you see here. So this is the basic CSL pedals kit. It retails for $80 or $80 US, that is, or €80, and comes with the accelerator pedal, brake pedal, and the foot plate, which kind of ties it all together, a cable to connect to your Fanatec wheelbase. We've also got a couple of spacers, and we'll get into these later, and then screws and a little hex wrench to get it all put together. So basically everything you need, and the $80 price point, phenomenal. It's fantastic. I don't know how they do it for 80 bucks, but they do, and it's really just a tremendous value, because the first thing you notice about this thing is there is a lot of metal used here. You would expect for $80 for there to be a lot of plastic and a lot of cheap parts, but that is not the case. So it's pretty amazing. Steel everywhere. I don't know how they do it for $80, but they do it, and it's just really surprising that they squeeze all this build quality under the $100 price point. So let's get into the individual components. We'll get it built, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the basic pedals, and then we'll get into exactly what's included with the upgrades and what those upgrades will do for you. Okay guys, so here we have everything laid out. And again, accelerator pedal, whoop, a little squeak in that pedal, and brake pedal, foot plate, footrest plate, and then this is the cable. It's an RJ cable, and that is going to connect these pedals to your wheelbase, to your Fanatec wheelbase. I'll put that to the side, not really too worried about it now. And then again, the hex wrench and the screws to go with the hex wrench, then these spacers. And I want to spend a minute talking about these spacers, because I'm not too happy with what they've done with that. But let's break it down a little bit. And we'll start with the accelerator pedal, because this is kind of the brains of everything here. So you can see it's got this RJ port here, and then two RJ ports on this side. And they're all labeled. So the one closest to me right now is labeled wheelbase or load cell. Then you flip it around, and you have brake and clutch for these two RJ ports. So this is it, and again, a little squeak here. Seems to have worked itself out. But yeah, basically inside of this pedal, I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not sure if my lighting is good or not, but there's a little spring in there that's providing that resistance, and then it's got this plastic, this black plastic bar that is the stop. So if I push it all the way, it's catching on that black plastic stop there. So it's a pretty basic mechanical unit, nothing too intricate here. The brains, again, underneath this plastic part, and that's where the RJ12 ports are. But yeah, it's got Hall sensors, 12-bit, I believe, and those are used to track the travel of the pedal. And yeah, so that's the basic accelerator pedal. And I need some WD-40. Moving on now to the brake pedal, and as you can see, it has a little RJ cable that is too long for it, and we'll explain why. I will explain why in a little bit. But you can see it's tucked nicely up in there, and then it just has the end sticking out. The pedal face, by comparison, quite a bit wider on the brake, as you would expect, and a little bit different in the back here. So if you look behind, there's this plastic assembly here, and then it's got high density foam there, and what that does is it makes it so it's not a linear travel. I'm putting a lot of force into this, and what that does is it compresses the foam. Not sure if you guys can see that, but it compresses the foam and gives a progressive feel to the brake rather than just a linear feel like we had with the spring on the accelerator. So again, just the RJ lead, and what this is going to be is this plugging into where it says, where is it? Sorry, what am I doing? This is the accelerator. Sorry, it took me a minute. This is the brake. So the brake will plug into the port that says brake on the accelerator. Tab up, and you can tuck all this extra cable back into the base here, and you can see each of them. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job here. Pressure of being in front of the camera is really getting to me. Not ready for all this fame. But anyway, if you can get that to stay in there, might need to work with this a bit. I won't torture you guys with it, but that'll work. And as you can see, each of the pedals has 4 threaded holes here. And what that's gonna do, you guys probably guessed it already, but it's just gonna lay on something like that, and then you get them lined up with the holes, and then you turn the provided screws, and this is your basic CSL pedal set. So pretty easy assembly. Now I want to just take a minute to talk about something that I really don't like about these pedals, and frankly it's the biggest thing I don't like. I've done quite a bit of testing with these and I like the feel of them overall, but there is something that's really annoying on these, and it's not to do with the pedals themselves. It's to do with the base plate. So the base plate, or the foot plate rather, the footrest plate is part of how we're going to hard mount this onto a rig. And as you can see, there's these threaded posts here. There's 2 of them. Hopefully you guys can see that. And so what it is this will go down onto your wheel plate on your rig. And these posts are to accommodate a bolt. Simple enough, right? The problem is, don't know if you guys can see that or not, but these posts are not the same height as this lip. There's a gap there. Enter the spacer. Spacer brings it to the same height. You guys can see that? Don't know. All right, anyway, the spacer brings it to the same height, okay? So that's fine. Problem is, this is so far back that you have to somehow, and these don't stick on, you just kind of hold them on, so you just somehow have to invert this, sit it on top of your pedal plate, and then try and get bolts in from underneath. And you might be able to take your pedal plate off your rig depending on what you have set up, so that's fine. Let's say you take your plate off and you have it ready to go, that's all good. But there's still a problem, and that is these have a limited depth because on the other side, they don't come through. So you need a bolt that is M6, I believe, and it has to be 22 millimeters plus the thickness of your pedal plate. So give or take, probably about 25 millimeters. So it's a pretty specific bolt. I don't think most people would have a 25 millimeter M6 bolt in their garage or in their tool chest, whatever. So why Fanatec didn't include a 25 or 2 25 mil M6 bolts is beyond me. It's a very specific thing. It's kind of a pain, you know, working with these spacers and trying to get it mounted to my cockpit. So I really didn't like that. I really didn't like that. But anyway, that's my least favorite thing about these pedals. But let's say you're not as fickle as me. It's a very easy assembly. Goes together something like that. Yeah, so that is basically how the CSL pedals go together. I'll get my driving impressions in a bit, but in terms of the build quality and the initial feel of these pedals, it's just way, way above the $80 price point. Again, there's not a lot of competitors for this, but you would expect that at the $80 price point that there would be a lot of plastic involved. You know, but to get hall sensors for both these pedals, and you know, just about an all metal build. Obviously the pedal faces are plastic, but other than that, it's pretty much all metal, and it's just tremendous. It really is. So great value. The only thing I would say, oh, by the way, I forgot to do this, but this cable will come off here and go out to your Fanatec wheelbase. Yeah, So the only reason, like when I started this video, I was thinking, wow, for 80 bucks, this has got to be a sure bet to have just as a backup, right? If you run something, a lot fancier like a Husingfeld or a set of hydraulic pedals or something, why not for 80 bucks have a set of these pedals just in case your main ones break? The problem is you have to connect it to a Fanatec wheelbase. So if you have a Fanatec wheelbase, no brainer, slam dunk, totally recommend these as a backup. But yeah, you have to have a Fanatec wheelbase. You can get a USB adapter, but that's an additional 40 bucks. So there's complications there, but really just a tremendous value based on the build quality. All right, so I'm gonna screw this down and then take some pictures, and then we'll begin the upgrade process. All right, guys. So got our CSL pedals built. Now it's time to talk upgrades. And the first one to talk about is this. This is the load cell. And this is $80 and a slam dunk as far as value goes. This one, there's a little more to talk about. So load cell pedal, 60 kilogram load cell. And then it's stood off with these, it's a heavy duty series of, what would you call them? Washers, I suppose. And that provides the resistance. So load cell pedals, obviously a fantastic thing for sim racing, but this retails for $140 or 140 euro. It's going to be on sale for Black Friday for 120, so there is a savings to be had there, but regular 140. So in other words, this 80 bucks, this 220. So it definitely makes you think twice. I would still say that at this price point, there's nothing I have seen that is this of this build quality. Great to have the load cell, obviously, all metal construction. And another thing you get with this load cell upgrade, USB. So this load cell natively supports USB. So I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there is a USB connection right on the load cell. And then there's other ports to get connected to your accelerator and eventually clutch pedal. Also includes this little RJ cable, and that is to extend this and again, join it with these other two cables. Now you may have noticed I said eventually clutch cable. So what we're gonna do, you can buy the clutch kit, which is just basically another one of these squeaky guys, these accelerators, and that would basically shift these to your right and then add a clutch pedal rather here, and then you have a 3-pedal set. You can do the same with the load cell kit, but in a little bit different fashion. So obviously, if we want to make this the clutch, it's going to have to go this way. Accelerator will go this way, and make room in the middle for our load cell to do something like this. But it's not going to fit, so it's going to do something like this, but obviously installed properly. And so how does this become a clutch? Well, you take this little high density foam piece out, and then this travels freely, and it's not a difficult operation. You can do it with your fingers. A little bit more difficult to get back on, but that's your high density foam piece that sits behind your brake pedal when you buy the $80 set. Or if you upgrade to the load cell, want to use this as a clutch, just take that little high density foam stopper out, and now this moves freely. It's a little bit stiffer than the accelerator, but not by much. So you shouldn't have any trouble with using that as your clutch. And then you're going to undo 4 bolts in each pedal. Again, slide these to the outside, make room for this guy. And then you have a load cell pedal kit, again, for the $220 price point. So still a very good deal overall, but yeah, a little bit more to think about. The $80 to me is just an absolute no-brainer. You have to think a little bit more at 220 bucks, but I still think it's a good deal. And then once you get these kind of mounted, you're gonna have to interconnect them. It all uses these RJ cables, so you just have to do a bit of shifting, pun intended. I kind of got confused when I was filming the previous segment of this video, but the accelerator remains the brains, and I do believe everything will still connect to that, and then you'll go from your load cell to the computer. So clutch, let me see, let me just double check what I'm saying here. Yes, so load cell will come out of the accelerator, and clutch will come out of the accelerator, and then from the load cell to the computer. So that's basically it. Fairly easy. I'm going to get this undone, get everything rejigged, and take some pictures, and then we will talk about the final upgrade, which is the oops, sorry about that, which is the pedal faces, the tuning kit. So fairly simple with the load cell, and then we'll do the tuning kit upgrade, and then we'll get into my thoughts on how it drives, and then final thoughts. All right, final step in the upgrade path here. This is the tuning kit, and includes pedals, aluminum pedals no less, for all three, whether you buy the clutch kit or whether you buy the load cell and convert your previous brake into the clutch. However you choose to do it, 3 pedal faces included, $40 US or 40 Euro. Comes with these cool tools actually. Standard hex wrench that's included with most Fanatec products, Fanatec, sorry. And this cool wrench here that actually, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but it has an open side here, so you can actually thread that right onto the nut. So kind of cool. And the way these work, actually there's 2 possible ways to mount these here as I can figure. So standard pedal face, and then the white backing here. It's meant to go together as one, but I suppose if you wanted to, you could take this plastic spacer off the back and just mount it directly to the pedal arms here. Sorry, I wasn't watching the camera there, not sure if you saw what I was talking about, but plastic spacer on the back, this white plastic spacer, and then the aluminum pedal face, and the F Fanatec, and then it just comes with the standard hex head bolts here, 2 of them, and then the nuts on the back. So all you do is back these nuts off, and then to replace the pedal faces, oops, standard pedals have these 2 hex head bolts in them. You just take those off, slide the pedal face forward, and then of course replace it with one of these. So very simple, and that's it. So that is the tuning kit, the upgrade kit for the pedal faces, and yeah, not necessary by any means. It seems if you hate the sort of, let's see here, the convex shape of a pedal and prefer a flat face, then obviously this would be something for you. They look better, obviously, but yeah, I see it mainly as a cosmetic upgrade, especially with these being plastic. They're not particularly abrasive to the feet. In fact, with socks, you might be better off with the standard faces. It's up to you. But yeah, that's the tuning kit. I'm going to get them on. I'm going to take some pictures, and then we will finally, well, almost, we're going to talk some key features about this CSL pedals and the upgrades, and then we will get on to driving impressions and my final thoughts. So quickly running down some of the key features of the CSL pedals. The CSL pedals are a 2-pedal set and have an MSRP of $80 or 80 Euro. The pedals are made almost entirely of metal except the plastic pedal faces and electronics. 12-bit Hall sensors are used in both base pedals for accuracy and durability. Springs are used to provide the resistance, and the brake pedal uses a stiffer spring and high-density foam behind it to provide a progressive resistance level. The pedal faces can be adjusted up and down, and the pedals can be independently moved left or right. There are 3 upgrade paths for the CSL pedals. You can purchase a 3rd pedal to be used as a clutch for $40, or a load cell brake pedal like I have for this video for $140. There are anodized aluminum pedal faces that can be added for $40 as well. The 60 kilogram load cell can be adjusted in the Fanatec software to reduce the resistance if desired. All right, so time to talk about the driving experience with the CSL pedals and the upgrades. And I'll start with the base CSL pedals. And they're surprisingly good, especially considering the price point. I'm coming from a set of Heusinkveld Sim Pedals Sprint, and these are not that. The travel doesn't feel bad, but it definitely doesn't have the firmness and smooth travel of the higher end pedals. The stock brake feels about how you'd expect. It's spongy. Not a very realistic feeling brake, but it's very drivable and it gets the job done no problem.
One thing that makes the CSL pedals stand out versus other pedals like the T3PA pedals is the length of the arms. The stock pedals that come with the Logitech G series or the lower end Thrustmaster T series, the pedals are a lot smaller and they feel less natural than the CSLs. The build quality also feels really solid and the pedal faces are comfortable enough to drive with socks alone. And moving on to the upgraded set, and this is definitely the way to go if you can afford it. Personally, the tuning kit pedal faces didn't do much for me beyond aesthetics, but the load cell kit is a great addition. Even at $220 for the whole 3-pedal set, it's still a deal in the entry-level pedal market. And just a quick aside here, a lot of people have been asking if the CSL pedals are worth upgrading to. If you have the CSL Elite LC kit, I don't own the latter, so I can't say for sure, but from what I've read, the 2-pedal sets are more or less on equal standing, so it's unlikely that the upgrade will be worthwhile for most folks. Alright, so let's move on to the good, the neutral, and the bad. In the good category, the build quality is the first thing you'll notice and appreciate about the CSL pedals. How they're able to sell all metal pedals for $80 is beyond me, but in this market they feel phenomenally well built. And next is the value, and $80 for the CSL pedals is a fantastic deal. If you have a Fanatec wheelbase, this is a no-brainer if you need a backup set of pedals, or if you have the money to add a USB adapter, this is a great step for those with either stock Logitech or stock Thrustmaster pedals. Also in the good, the load cell brake pedal feels pretty good. It's not top tier, but it's still really good, and if you can afford the upgrade, do it. In the neutral category, the price of the load cell kit I'm going to put in there. Granted, I'd still recommend the upgrade at $220, but it's less of a steal than the base $80 pedals, so it just kind of lands in the middle for me. And in the bad category, I think we all know where this is going. The mounting screws for fixing the CSLs onto a pedal plate for a rig. The front screws are terribly awkward and unnecessarily difficult. I hope Fanatec hears this and will take a look at that for future editions. Also in the bad category, the CSL pedals don't have a USB port. I think if they cost $10 or $20 more and had a USB port and could be used independent of a Fanatec wheelbase, these pedals would very likely be the most recommended first upgrade for beginners, and they may still be that even without the USB port, but for me at least, it would certainly sweeten the deal by a lot if they had a USB port. So in summary guys, the CSL pedals and especially the load cell upgrade are a great product for the entry to mid-level sim market. At $80, the CSL pedals seem almost too good to be true, and if you've got the money for a load cell kit, do it. Great product, well done to Fanatec. Thank you guys so much for watching.